haven't seen the previous video in this series, follow the link on your screen or click the link in the description or pinned comment below.
DC Comics. He's got a nice bench, got lots of sunshine, has his little bouncy ball. This is more like daycare than prison.
Since this type of solitary confinement exists in reality, you're going to have to explain why this is a sin of this film. Not to mention separating a non-problem child from other children in a daycare would get your daycare shut down. Fast. You know, considering this is a type of torture.
Also, Folsom Prison Blues is playing, and the ball bouncing is super close to being on the beat of the song, but it's just off enough that it's driving me crazy.
Everything wrong with The Suicide Squad. A character isn't bouncing a ball to the beat of a song.
Michael Rooker appears in a James Gunn film cliche.
Everything wrong with The Suicide Squad. An actor has worked with a director multiple times.
Opening your movie with gratuitous avicide. Prison cafeteria ran out of apples?
Another non-sin. A bad guy doing bad things is not a sin of a film, bruv. That's called characterization. This video did not need to be 17 minutes, and chaff like this is why it is. Seriously, why make more work for yourself when you could simply send the parts of the film that you have a real problem with and skip nonsense like this?
Cool hero walk shot, but why is giant American flag?
Must resist temptation to America.
Turn it around. No, yeah. Put it in there. Now you're safe.
When the mutated weasel has a better understanding of how seatbelts work, you should really start to question your value on any team.
Jeremy just indirectly sinned Dr. Alan Grant, and I have a problem with that.
What does Savant do again? It's Brian Derlin. He's an expert in weapons and hand-to-hand combat.
Thank you. Now that I know Savant is basically good with guns, I'm sure I will have no problem understanding what he brings to the team that is different from the likes of Deadshot, Deathstroke, Peacemaker, Rick Flag, Blackguard, Harley Quinn, and basically 90% of every Suicide Squad we've ever seen.
As per usual, you just ignored the other thing the person lists as his ability. Hand-to-hand combat. Besides, since when did the movie say they were all being recruited for specific abilities only? What kind of team are you putting together where abilities don't overlap? What if your sharpshooter gets taken out? Now you don't have a sharpshooter anymore.
What are you doing?
Good meeting, everybody.
Just ready to go.
Just our normal, casual morning meeting.
Did Discount Nick Frost really need to come up with a cover for this? I seriously doubt that Waller gives a shit about some office betting pool when she is the one sending the subjects of said pool to what is clearly advertised as almost certain death.
What does that have to do with the support team clearly not taking their job seriously? Something that could threaten the mission? I mean, I understand that a bunch of clowns work at CinemaSins, but don't you want them taking the writing and editing seriously?
Your name is Letters?
Name's a letters, dickhead.
Boomerang would be amazing at CinemaSins.
I almost never call out the would be amazing at CinemaSins gag, but this particular one made me think about how dumb it is. Essentially, someone in the movie makes a mistake, and then another person in the movie corrects them, and then Jeremy sends the movie for it. Shouldn't you take a sin off for the movie acknowledging the mistake the person made? I mean, at worst, it's a wash.
American women all love accents.
We do, because we don't got none.
That's Texas.
He says to a woman clearly sporting a Brooklyn accent, all Americans have accents. The language is called English, for f***'s sake. Think about it.
Did anyone check on where the weasel could swim?
Regardless, how about somebody just gives him a hand anyway?
But they do?
Savant waits until he is f***ing sinking before finally deciding to help the poor rat bastard.
Oh, I see. You're being disingenuous with the scene here. Obviously, this is a comedy film, and this scene is played for a joke. Weasel sinks very quickly as part of the gag here, meaning Savant saves him as soon as he could. Imagine a supposed comedy channel not recognizing comedy.
Why is the Corto Maltese army only appearing on this screen now? This monitor seems to be hooked up to a UAV, but what's the point of sending it in after your team is already at the place that you are UAVing?
It's almost like Waller knew all of this, and that this team was a distraction or something.
Honestly, I'm not prepared to allow my brain to process this. Harley, take this one for me, will you?
What the?
What's the problem? This character exists in the comics as Arm Fall Off Kid or Splitter. I don't see an issue with a comic book film showing comic book characters as they are in the comics. Also sending Nathan Fillion for literally any reason.
How's Team 2 holding up?
Holy double-cross sneaky Team 2, Batman!
Yes, the scene that refutes your UAV sin, and you're not only ignoring that it does that, you're randomly sinning it for no reason at all. I don't think Batman would approve. Unless, of course, your name was Joker, then you can get away with anything.
I am fully aware of how toxic some office workplaces can be, but this movie seems to be going to extreme lengths to make sure these people are as unlikable as possible. Celebrating their winnings is gross, but I can kind of see it. But why is this guy flipping off the pictures of the deceased as well? Why, movie? Why do you want me to hate these people? Especially since they end up saving the day at the end of the movie.
You're aware of the kind of people that are in the Suicide Squad, right? The guy in the chair is flipping off Weasel, a character that was stated to have killed 27 children. Fuck Weasel, is what I'm saying.
And with this bird vengeance, I present to you the only thing that comes close to a fully realized story arc.
Are you suggesting the plot of this film doesn't have a fully realized character arc? Because that would be about as true as anything on Kylie Jenner's body. Never forget, this is what she actually looks like.
Is he the only guy cleaning this entire prison?
No, but he's the one they're currently showing you. Jesus, what are you, 8?
Who's gonna kill his kid?
And so begins the apparent redemption of the most f***ed up office team since Dunder Mifflin opened its doors in 2005. But why are Waller's tactics so shocking to him? He's been here long enough to be betting on which Z-list DC character dies or survives each mission, but the fact that Waller would use a child to blackmail an inmate onto the team is somehow shocking to him? She's f***ing playing the hits right now.
You're completely misunderstanding the point here. You have positioned this as these guys who are betting on the deaths of horrible people shouldn't be shocked that innocent people are being dragged into this. I feel like I shouldn't have to explain this, but threatening harm to otherwise innocent people is nowhere near the same as taking pleasure in horrible people dying.
Are you having a laugh?
What?
You just said each member of the team is chosen for their unique abilities. He does exactly what I do.
Bloodsport would be Deadshot at CinemaSins.
Ignoring the fact that Waller has Peacemaker on the team to carry out a covert plan, again, I go back to the purpose of this gag. If the movie is calling this out, how is it a sin of the movie? Also, I think you're failing to get that this is the joke. Comedy movie. Paul Rudd. Okay, not really, but you know what I mean.
Does Ratcatcher 2 keep her orange juice at room temperature?
Yes. You know, because this is a prison and it isn't meant to be comfortable and accommodating. And that's not orange juice, that's Sunny Delight, the white person's purple drink.
Why would you do your big mission presentation in such a way that the debriefer's shadow blocks part of the presentation image? Just take some of the money from the prison's giant American flag fund and put it into better projector setup.
Probably when that shadow literally blocks nothing important on the screen. See, what you did was only show this slide of the presentation, which is an obvious manipulation because Waller almost immediately skips to the next slide and then ends up on the opposite side.
The country has been ruled with an iron fist.
Hey, that's a Marvel property. Don't you need permission to use him?
Your mission is to infiltrate Jotunheim.
Of all the names and all the collected history of humanity, why did the writers pick Jotunheim? It's as if they thought, everyone loves those Thor movies. Maybe we could steal some goodwill via osmosis.
No, it's actually as if Jotunheim is something that exists in the comics. This man actually thinks Norse mythology was an MCU invention.
You know what I think? I think liberty's just your excuse to do whatever you want.
America.
Starbucks! Fuck yeah! Disney World! Fuck yeah! Porno! Fuck yeah! Valium! Fuck yeah! Reebok! Fuck yeah! Fake tits! Fuck yeah! Sushi! Fuck yeah! Taco Bell! Fuck yeah! Rodeo! Fuck yeah! Bed Bath & Beyond! Liberty! Fuck yeah! Wax Lips! Fuck yeah! The Alamo! Fuck yeah! Band-Aids! Fuck yeah! Las Vegas! Fuck yeah! Christmas! Fuck yeah! Immigrants! Fuck yeah! Popeye! Fuck yeah! Democrats! Fuck yeah! Republicans! Sponsorship! Books!
You are the only one fit to carry my javelin.
Oh, fine. It's cool when the British guy says it, but when I said the exact same thing in college...
Skip! Oh, and that guy is German, not British. But yeah, skip!
The titty monkey, sometimes called the titty monkey by ignorant Americans with a fondness for breasts, are vocal.
Skip! Actually, you shouldn't have skipped this scene because Jeremy makes the point that the titty monkey lives in the Amazon and that this movie doesn't take place in the Amazon.
Actually, my skip was justified because TDs don't just live in the Amazon, as they can be found as far south as Paraguay. TDs are best described as living in South America, and where does this movie take place again? Exactly.
In my admittedly dated experience of slumber parties, I always found it was a good idea to expel one's polka dots before settling in for bed, especially in mixed company.
That's racist. Also, Jeremy says boner.
Okay, let's talk about this sequence of events here.
Let's not.
I know, friends.
Same to Nawe. Same.
Jeremy sends something he likes, cliche?
If I die because I gambled on love, it will be a worthy death.
But you'll never know one way or the other because you'll be dead.
Her point is that she would be content with dying if her death was a result of love. But do me a favor. Point out where she said what you said. If you can't, it's because you're just making shit up.
Oh my god, I'm good at my job. I found him.
Seemed more like the computer found him, or the satellite. You were literally leaning back drinking a soda, so I don't know how you did anything.
Tell me, do computers and satellites just do things on their own without having been programmed to do so by a human? Because that would be the singularity, and we would all be f***ed.
How? How are these two chuckle f***s still standing around as if none of this excessive blood sporting and peacekeeping was happening mere feet behind them? And these assholes too? Sweet galloping plot conveniences. Did Waller set the difficulty on this mission to off?
Sorry to be so pedantic here. Oh, who am I kidding? Not really. But you can't set difficulty to off. Difficulty is a spectrum, and anything outside of that spectrum is non-participation. And they're clearly participating.
Man, this guy's got lungs. I haven't seen someone blow this hard since Jamarcus Russell.
You clearly haven't seen Jill Scott on that one microphone. You meant the other thing. Sorry, I got confused. There are 3 definitions going on right now.
Why did my people not alert me of your arrival?
Why does Radio Shack ask for your phone number when you buy batteries?
Make a deal with the devil to stop them.
People who say this are really underestimating the devil. Trust me.
That's okay, because the devil doesn't exist. Trust me.
Project Starfish.
And a hot dog flavor water?
Limp Biscuit.
If the previous regime was at least not directly offensive to the American government, but this new regime the U.S. hates, how is there a turkey on this table? Does the South American island of Corto Maltese have native f***ing goddamn turkeys? Because I don't damn think they do.
Listen, I could understand if this was the early 20th century, but you're talking about a film that takes place in the 2020s. Imported food is completely normal these days, especially in the context of the rich and powerful. You can literally buy turkey in Japan year-round. This is a stupid sin.
Is this all the same day?
Yes.
Leaving your pistol unsheathed during coitus.
Yeah, but condoms suck. My dad told me that.
You use a condom? No.
Good! That's my boy! That's my boy! Yo, never use condoms, son. They take away all the feeling.
Nazis came here seeking asylum after World War II.
I swear if you counted up the total number of leftover Nazi scientists that are out and about doing sketchy shit in every movie and TV show since 1945, you wouldn't be able to go to a fucking Walmart without bumping into one of those bastards reverse engineering Twinkies to travel back in time to poison Churchill. Wait. Hello, Netflix?
Yes, Jeremy, we got your messages about this the first 30 times. It's a stupid idea. Stop calling here.
Damn.
Damn, you nailed it?
But she didn't nail it. What she was actually trying to do was this.
Why are you so afraid of rats?
The plague, mostly.
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
We lived homeless in the streets of...
Skip!
State considered the rats a weapon.
I don't think I can fault the state here. You have already used the rats as a weapon in the last couple days, so why the tears?
Probably because the part you skipped explained that her father died and she was arrested for using rats to survive. In other words, she became an orphan and is not a murderous criminal like everyone else here. That is sad no matter how you cut it.
You remind me of my daughter.
F you, dude. You made it clear in the earlier scene that you barely knew your daughter.
No, the only thing he made clear was that he was a terrible father, not that he barely knew his daughter. Besides, even if he didn't, it's almost like he barely knows Ratcatcher.
John Cena dancing.
What? Where?
This is one of the most disturbing scenes ever filmed. Like, will YouTube's content filter even let us post this? Is this suitable for advertisers?
Sinning this scene.
They're torturing Harley Quinn? They all seem to know who she was by name, but if they're tasering her to get her to talk, they don't know shit about Harley Quinn.
Says the guy who definitely doesn't know shit about Harley Quinn. Considering the last movie you sent that featured Harley Quinn, you didn't even know her name was Harleen Quinzel. This is the second movie to feature her being tortured, and in Birds of Prey, she broke after being bitch slapped once. I mean twice.
Don't leave one of our own behind.
Yes, you fucking do. That's the whole point of the damn team, or else it would be called the Leave No Person Behind Squad.
Jeremy thinks the opposite of leaving teammates behind is suicide.
Playing emoji charades at work.
I think you've been a YouTuber for far too long. This is literally how regular people keep from killing themselves at their jobs.
I mean, if you're gonna be strangled to death.
Jeremy sends something he likes cliche.
Much has been made about how Margot Robbie apparently did this using your foot to unlock the chain scene herself, which is admittedly cool as f***, but I'd have given all the sins back if she got that key into the lock, only to learn it's not the key to her chains, but some random other key, like the dude's locker at the gym.
So, you liked what the movie did, but because they didn't do something stupid, you're going to sin it? Does that make sense to anyone?
Okay, yeah, you're probably not supposed to be gambling on company time, but I still holy f***, that handgun is pointed directly at this card-playing fellow on the left.
Just like these single-digit IQ sporting geniuses that didn't understand what I was saying about the guns Tombstone was pointing in my Into the Spider-Verse video, you're failing to understand perspective. That gun is not pointing directly at the guy on the left because, as you can see, it's on the edge of the table, and the guy on the left is in the middle of that table. What are you, 2D?
No one will be seated during the John Wick Harley Billum portion of the movie.
Oh look, a character that has been established as a capable hand-to-hand fighter in 2 previous movies is totally ripping off John Wick because John Wick invented combat.
Come on without, come on within. You'll not see nothing like the fighting Quinn.
Jeremy sings in a video cliche.
The director said, please be sure to stare directly into CinemaSins' soul while taking a bite of this apple so he knows how big of an asshole he is.
Jeremy sins himself, but still gives the sin to the movie.
Okay, Milton is here with them right now as they enter. King Shark is even behind him. Flag and Polka are abreast of him. The movie makes a big joke soon about how no one knows who he is.
Oh, I thought there was more to this. What you're saying is a comedy movie sets up and makes a joke, and this is somehow sinful? Is it because you think comedy is having a room full of writers that are all bad at watching movies? Like how all 9 of you missed that only Harley was the one who forgot Milton?
Then put the emergency code. Now!
Why would they have given the emergency front door lock code to the scientist working on experiments inside the building? This is a military-run facility.
This is why I clown CinemaSins for having multiple people that write and edit these videos, but somehow all of them miss critical elements of these movies. Earlier, Waller explained that Jotunheim was a scientific facility and that the Thinker was in charge of what went on there. Part of their plan was making contact with the Thinker specifically because he has the codes to this facility.
How are we supposed to get in?
Gaius Greaves, the Thinker, is a geneticist in charge of Project Starfish. Get Greaves to help you by whatever means necessary, and he can get you into Jotunheim.
You were too busy worrying about fucking shadows, so you missed that part of the presentation.
If God existed, wouldn't this be proof that he wasn't good at all?
Well, no, actually. God's goodness, at least biblically speaking, from a New Testament perspective, is not something that prevents all human suffering, but rather something that offers grace and redemption to all those who have suffered.
But that skirts the fact that this hypothetical God created everything, including the concept of suffering, and that he knew the people he created would suffer, thereby making him the direct cause of suffering. That's the problem with primitive fairy tales. They fail at logic and can't keep up with societal morality. Imagine believing an all-powerful deity needs to send an avatar of himself to Earth with the intention of dying to forgive sins instead of just forgiving the sins that he knew was going to happen anyway.
Flag pulls out a single hard drive and a wall of rack computers and servers and somehow decides it's the one he's after. And it appears he's right.
Nice scene manipulation, bro. In the part you didn't show, Flag does try to open the other servers. Heck, you can literally see one of them open next to the one that contains the hard drive.
30 years of what we are led to believe is agonizing torture, and Space Patrick kills the Thinker guy this quickly? Damn it, where's my tentacle-based revenge?
This, coming from the guy that sends villains for meandering and monologuing, is hilarious.
Like I give a shit.
Not being sad that Nanaue gets hurt. That's worth these many sins.
I know we all love King Shark, but the amount of bullets being unloaded into him is enough to take down a tank, let alone a super strong sea animal.
Besides the fact that, no, this is not nearly enough ammo to take out a tank, King Shark is a literal god. I mean, the movie is showing you he can tank those shots, but here you are suggesting he can't based on what exactly?
Some bullshit.
I suppose the human-looking alien from a planet called Krypton who can fly and shoot laser beams from his eyes didn't tip you off, but this is a comic book universe. You got a dude vomiting polka dots. This is the least bullshit thing in this movie.
I know this would be quite the anticlimax, but why does Cornell not tell his people to immediately open fire on the discount not-so-expendables? As far as he knows, they're just running from a collapsing building.
This is wrong. What the movie actually shows is the army reacting to giant tremors coming from the already collapsed building before they run out, suggesting that something big is causing it. Considering Mateo already knows about Starro, do I even need to finish this sentence?
The Last Starfighter here steals the face-hugging technique from the Alien franchise, and I am not okay with adding this to my very specific list of face-impregnating night terrors.
Except Starro has existed in the comics since 1960, and the Alien franchise began in 1978, 18 years later.
Straight up murder.
The word you're looking for is war. These guys performed a military coup against the original government that was in place. You would have known this if you weren't so enamored with shadows.
Listen to me, people. Do yourself a favor and never, ever Google the phrase armpit ejaculate. Let my pain be enough to cover us all.
But you realize that isn't Starro's armpit. He's a starfish. That was his crotch.
Still better than the Rampage movie.
Jeremy sends something he likes cliche.
I knew Sebastian sensed good in you for a reason.
I'm sorry. This is nitpicky even for me, but
skip.
What in the nanotech f***ery is this bullshit?
The extra-dimensional gun that allowed Bloodsport to put a bullet in Superman. Comic book movie.
Hardy! Take the high ground!
What? She has a spear. You have guns and grenades and arrows and all kinds of shit. Why is she taking the high ground? I mean, yeah, it works out that she jump stabs the Starro thing in the eyeball, but he didn't know that when he gave this order. This is a terrible order.
But you've answered yourself. He ordered Harley to take the high ground because he knew she'd be able to pierce the higher-than-ground-level eyeball with Javelin's javelin.
You may be tempted to marvel at the underwater gracefulness of Harley and the Rats. I'm here to remind you that this is not water. It's eyeball juice.
I'm curious, but what do you think makes up eyeball juice?
Taking your preteen daughter up to deadly heights just to teach a lesson about purpose. Also, how the f*** did they even get up there? They're not Batman.
But they are Ratman, and if my playthrough of A Plague Tale has taught me anything, it's that rat powers are better than no bat powers.